Hi, I'm Jason Inman.
And I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
And welcome to Crisis Club. Crisis Club Episode 2. If you don't know, this is the series where we're going to go through issue by issue of the giant DC Comics series mega event, Crisis on Infinite Earths, because worlds will live, worlds will die, and the DC Universe got chomped in half. And we're going to tell you all about it because, you know, there's a little crossover coming up on the CW, little tiny network called Crisis on Infinite Earths, the same name. So we're going to go through this. Real quick note, we're going to say this in front of every video. If you have not read Crisis on Infinite Earths, you definitely need to read Crisis on Infinite Earths, or this video is not going to make any sense. So there's going to be plenty of spoilers for a comic book series that was published in 1985.
You're welcome.
So real quick, issue 2 of Crisis on Infinite Earths, here are the credits. It was called Time and Time Again. It was written and edited by Marv Wolfman, penciled by George Perez, inked by Dick Giordano, lettered by John Costanza, colored by Anthony Tullen, and the plot was by Wolfman, Robert Greenberger, and the amazing Len Wein. This was published in May of 1985. Now, first off the bat, Ashley, let's talk about this George Perez cover.
Let's.
Heavily features a shadow creature, but also first little heavily detailed anti-monitor tower, which is going to become a staple of the DC Universe going forward, that every time you see an anti-monitor tower, whoa.
I just want to say that I'm not a fan of the shadow creatures, and they're pretty
I don't like them either.
Heavily featured, but the use of negative space in this cover and the way it's composed as a non-artist, I think is just stunning. I'm probably going to say that about every cover, but it's amazing.
It's also, well, these covers are pretty amazing, and also you have to put out that Commandy, the last boy,
Jason loves Commandy.
on the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little shout out there. But we start the issue not with the last boy, we start the issue with the first boy. If you don't know who this is Anthro, the first boy, basically a prehistoric boy, the opposite of Commandy. His first appearance was in Showcase number 74 in 1968.
Woo!
Now, Ashley, I want to talk about this because we spend about 3 to 4 pages in this sequence with his prehistoric tribe.
Yes.
What do you think about this? Was this interesting? Because we just ended the last issue of Crisis with, I am the Monitor and you shall protect the world. And then we go right to prehistoric times. Do you think this is more setup? What do you think the idea is to start in prehistoric times?
It's definitely set up.
Okay.
This is a big picture. This to me recalls the beginning of the last issue where we began on Earth 3. Yeah, like we're just showing how far the consequences of this are going to go.
Yeah.
Did I like starting with Anthro? Not so much.
What do you got? You got beef with Anthro?
I do got beef with Anthro. I think he's not interesting.
He's a prehistoric boy, Ashley. He doesn't know your advanced ways.
That's fine. I still don't think he's interesting. To me, the best part of the Anthro storyline is when we hard cut to the Legion.
Oh, yes. Well, talk about juxtaposition.
Yeah, exactly.
So Anthro sees a city from the 30th century, which is the home of the Legion of Superheroes, and the Legion of Superheroes see a pack of woolly mammoths.
Yep.
And Fred Flintstone driving by.
I actually think when you get the reveal, I think it's very intelligent to be like, these two things in opposition are smashing together because of how loose the fabric of reality and of the multiverse is. And I love a good classic Brainiac 5 with the swoopy Dick Grayson hair.
Well, Brainiac also gets a little nice moment in here where he sees this wave of antimatter that is coming from everywhere and is hitting every time period, which of course is the main crux of Crisis on Infinite Earths. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not even going to say this for our DCTV predictions section, which will be at the very end.
Breaking all the rules.
I just think that I think we will see a scene very similar to this. I think we will have a scene where Brainiac, our character on Supergirl, being like, I'm predicting the wave is coming.
I hope so, and I think that that's a very intelligent prediction since Jeremy Jordan kind of left the show full time and Brainiac 5 took that role. So
yes.
I hope so. I love Brainiac 5.
But we got to talk about, it's not a crisis, weirdly. Now, and I know you're going to say this is weird, but every crisis almost always has a scene with the Joker. And here is the Joker.
Well, because, you know, everyone loves the Joker, right?
Well, but here's the thing, Ashley. This is the Joker before the Joker was so overused.
I know.
This actually, to be honest with you, is my favorite Joker. I love this classic Silver Age design.
Purple Joker?
Purple fedora.
Yeah.
Purple long trench coat. It works, and his hair is a little bit longer, like the crazy Peter Capaldi years. From Doctor Who, if you understand that reference.
There is a panel on
Neil Adams
on page 4 that's just the face against a white background, and it's one of my favorite pieces of iconography of the Joker. He looks great here.
This is my favorite type of Joker, so I don't mind the Joker being in here. But we get a scene on the next page. Batman sees a sort of hologram image of Barry Allen screaming, "Save us, save us, save us." Now, this is the first time in Crisis. This is the first time in DC Universe continuity that a sort of dying Flash has been seen, and this moment has been aped by so many writers for the next 30 years.
Including in the Justice League movie.
Yes. Fair point. Whoa.
Or not even Justice League.
Batman v Superman.
Batman v Superman.
I didn't even consider that.
Was the second I saw that, I was like, oh, look at the DCEU copying this.
Them some brains over there.
And it's, because he's like, oh, I came too far back. And the reason people copy this is because it's cool. And this is pre-Speed Force.
There's also pre-Barry Allen's death.
Yes.
I mean, spoilers.
Wherever that's 30 years old.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to spoil that. It's kind of like knowing that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. I think to be honest with you, I think the one thing that everybody knows about Crisis on Infinite Earths is that Barry Allen dies.
Yeah.
So,
but it's effective and it's cool. And not only is the time traveling here, but you can literally see the effects of Crisis on him. He is disintegrating and falling apart.
Yes.
And it's tragic.
Now, again, this is an amazing piece of foreshadowing to something that's not going to take place until I believe issue 11
10 or 11
of the 12 issues of Crisis. But we have to talk about this. There's an editor's note where Batman goes, "The Flash," but he disappeared.
Oh, yeah.
It says, "See the Flash number 350 for details." Now, what that is that Flash 350, I read it for you, don't worry. The Flash basically is the last issue of the Flash in that volume. It's where Barry decides to go live in the 30th century with a newly resurrected Iris, away from the heroes and away from being the Flash. Now, that issue, funnily enough, was published in October of 1985. After this issue. So people, if you were reading The Flash and you're reading Batman at this time, and Batman goes, "The Flash disappeared," you're probably like, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
Can
you just imagine you reading a comic and you just throw it across the room?
Well, at the time, it's like,
they're on 342.
Continuities were totally way off the gate.
Oh, yeah.
And to be honest with you, I kind of wish we go back to that. I don't need every one of my comic books to line up perfectly. But just wanted to point out, that's basically what happens in that issue. It's the final issue of that volume.
Thank you.
We go to this amazing George Perez spread where we get to see all of our characters sort of introducing it, which to me, it's weird. I think about that giant spread. That to me is like a Legion of Superheroes thing. That's what I think about it.
It is a very classic Legion of Superheroes
You got so many characters. We got to name them all to make sure the readers. And then basically, the Monitor gives you the 411 about all this stuff like that. There's going to be earthquakes, there's going to be volcanoes everywhere, cats and dogs living in peace, all kinds of stuff like that. There's a couple mentions here, there's a couple characters in here we did not talk about last time. We got to talk about Simon.
I hate Simon.
He's kind of a Teen Titans villain. Yeah. Also, we should also mention Geoforce a little bit more, who is now a big star because of Young Justice.
Geoforce.
Yeah. But also, we have one crony from Marv Wolfman's other tenor, New Teen Titans, Cyborg.
I love Cyborg.
Let me ask you a question. So this is our main Crisis team.
Yes,
this is going to be our main Crisis team going forward. What do you think about the mix here? It's a very eclectic mix. Also, let me ask you this question, Ashley. Why do you think Cyborg is the only Titan? Because at this time, the New Teen Titans, best-selling DC comic book.
Absolutely, and it was for about 12 years. I think this is a very interesting lineup because in a lot of ways, especially like the characters you just pointed out, these are some of the greatest hits as created by Wolfman and Perez. I think
no Batman. Notice that.
No Batman because it's not all about Batman.
There's no Bat character in this entire lineup. That would not happen today.
There'd be at least two of them. I think this was intentionally something that we see a lot of today. I think this is supposed to be a diverse lineup.
Yes.
And I don't even necessarily...
And also representative of the entire DC universe.
I was going to say, I don't even necessarily mean like from an ethnic or a racial standpoint, but like we have heroes, we have villains, we have people from different time periods, we have people from different teams. This is not just the Justice League Light. This is not just Teen Titans Redux.
Yep.
We have someone from every corner of the DC universe.
Several villains.
At this time.
Yeah, as well.
Now, awesomely, it actually is diverse from like an ethnic racial standpoint for the time.
Yeah.
And I think that that's intentional, and I think that's why Cyborg.
All right, cool. All right, so we move on into where they start splitting apart. By the way, we should mention we finally get to see Earth 1, Batman and Superman talking on the planet, and they meet Pariah, who of course his character's going on. But I want to skip to cutting right to the Great Disaster and the Anti-Monitor Tower that is going to be this iconic thing. Look at the level of detail on this Anti-Monitor Tower.
I want to live in it.
And we meet, of course, that we saw him on the cover, Commandy, the last boy. Commandy. I love Commandy. He's a Jack Kirby character. He's the last boy on Earth because on Earth now they're all filled with talking animals, and he got his name because he lived in Command D bunker.
I like that he wears jean shorts in the future.
Yeah, well, you know, they're comfortable. So he is here. I think this is a great thing.
I like that he sees this tower and he's like, I'm gonna climb it.
He gets a nice little moment with Earth 2 Superman, and he's like, oh, Superman? He's a little bit, older. So Harbinger, we go back to the Monitor's Tower. Harbinger walks in and sees Alexander Luthor, who now looks like he's maybe about 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
And he has some sort of weird cosmic powers. And we get the confirmation that Alexander Luthor has survived the little rocket blast that we had.
His Action Comics #1 adventure.
Yes, and he's actually going to be like integral to the DC universe for days. We go back to another multiversal Anti-Monitor Tower with Obsidian, Orion, the Atlantean guy?
I would say Arian, but I've literally never heard it said out loud. So
Ashley, do you know who he is?
I know he is an Atlantean. I always say not in the traditional sense because we do see him more on land than underwater, and I know he is a relative of Arthur Curry.
Yeah, he's like a long
distant.
Yeah, I don't think there's a direct blood connection. Actually, I think it's like second cousin. Like he would be connected, but he's called a Homo Magi. He's a demigod, and he's one of the nobility of Atlantis when Atlantis was on land. And in sort of modern days, he's sort of become a villain. Like he's become a villain in several modern storylines because the idea that like he travels through time, right? And then he's like, Atlantis sank. Ah!
Every time he does magic, he gets the little sigils around his hand, and he kind of has that same Doctor Strange / Hellblazer design trope. Do you like him as a character?
I do. I like modern one, but I forgot to mention his first appearance was in Warlord. Great comic book, number 55 in March of 1982. I'm gonna make another tiny prediction. I think we will see him
really
in the crossover because I think Orion or Arian, I don't know how you say it.
I hope it's Orion. I hope it's not Arian.
I think he's going to be Arrowverse's stealth introduction of Atlantis into their universe.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because I think he'll be the thing of like, because especially since the Aquaman movie was so popular, I think that's how we get Atlanteans into their universe.
Oh, it'd be really cool too if they cast like a really like big Pacific Islander, like someone who kind of looks like Jason Momoa. That'd be really fun.
I think it'd be nice. So we get to see Psycho Pirate is kidnapped. He's blasted away, and he is kidnapped by the Anti-Monitor.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. And we get the first sort of cameo. We don't get to see him.
I know.
We get the cameo from the Anti-Monitor. I love this. Like, if you wish to live, let me know. Okay, how do you think the Anti-Monitor speaks?
I think the Anti-Monitor sounds like Michael Ironside speaking through a toaster.
So like, if you want to live, let me know, but to live you must serve as I demand.
Yeah, kind of like
Your
that.
answer now. We've seen the Anti-Monitor actually already. He was in the Green Lantern animated series.
I know, he corrupts my favorite character in that universe.
Actually, okay, so Psycho Pirate is a big part of this story. Psycho Pirate is a big part of this issue. Ashley, what do you think about the Psycho Pirate? Because again, we've already seen him in live action, so we know that he's going to be a part of that crossover. What do you think about him as a character?
We also know he's going to be part of the crossover because they took out a giant announcement in all of the industry rags when he was cast.
By the way, his first appearance is in All-Star Comics number 23 in 1944.
Whoa, that's so interesting because
he's a Golden Age character.
So many of these characters, as we've sort of gone through this video series, even though this is only the second episode, are recent additions. There's a lot of 80s
John
characters
Stewart
here. So I think that's
Cyborg.
Fascinating.
He's an old school.
He's a classic because I thought he was created for Crisis on Infinite Earths.
I did too.
He might have just been a character who was a one-off. Psycho Pirate, terrible name.
Terrible costume.
Terrible name. The mask is good.
Yes.
The mask is cool, which is why it's the only part that they lifted for DCTV.
Yes.
And by the end of this, he is a really interesting character.
Yes.
I don't know if he ever transcends this story and these events. I don't know if he ever gets another story that's as good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for the purpose of what we're doing, I think he's an interesting choice to be, I guess I'll call him the agent of the Anti-Monitor, because I can't...
Well, he's not the only agent, as we're going to learn.
Yes, but spoilers for a 30-year-old comic series. I think he's an interesting choice, because at this point, who cares about Psycho Pirate, right?
Well, we learn that, we get a little mention that Harbinger was raised by the Monitor. And then we get this thing where we see that the Harbinger is also an agent of the Anti-Monitor. The Anti-Monitor says this scary, like, the Monitor will fail. I'm going to find the voice. Don't worry about it.
He'll get it. I'm not worried.
So that's a pretty big twist.
Bummer.
And the issue ends with this amazing kind of 80s George Perez cosmic-y face thing, which I love. Ashley, what do you think about this twist that Harbinger now works for the Anti-Monitor? And now, I mean, to be honest with you, we're only 2 issues in. This is the end of the second issue, and it feels like the Monitor's just gonna get his ass handed to him.
This is a monumental twist to drop in the second issue.
Yeah.
Because if this were happening now, we would have this in issue 4 or 5. But by the time we get to issue 4 or 5, there's so much other stuff to be dealing with. When I first read this, I was really upset because I like Harbinger. Now, we knocked her costume because her costume's a little ridiculous in the last episode.
It's just because it's a little dated.
But Harbinger's a really cool cosmic character, and to know that like she's basically a baddie is kind of a bummer. But I think the Monitor's got some tricks up his sleeve. I think he's gonna be okay.
All right, so that's the end of the plot line of the issue. Remember, in the first episode of Crisis Club, I talked about that I've tracked down the original issues. So Marv Wolfman apparently, while he's waiting for letters to come in, just like was basically just in the letters page was saying Crisis Mail, and he was basically assuring all the DC Comics fans that they weren't going to screw up.
I get it. This is your first event of this kind. People were probably like, what?
So he dropped some interesting nuggets in this letter column, and in the issue 2 Crisis Mail, he talks about how they decided who they would kill. Now this is interesting because this is before they've killed anybody. So he talks about, this is from Marv Wolfman's own words from the Crisis Mail in issue 2. He says, and I quote, Len, Bob, and I were asked to prepare a death list that would include all the heroes / heroines / Earths that would be changed, altered, die, given new costumes, given new powers, less powers, and on and on. We did so, trying to be as daring as we could. In fact, we added in some characters that we knew would be automatically shot down. No way would DC let us change him or her. Wrong again. We gave the list to our editors, Dick and Jeanette asked us to be even more daring, making us to make some insane choices that you eventually see in the story that you will read.
And this is, again, not a spoiler because we all know the 2 major deaths in the story.
Supergirl, Barry Allen.
There is a I don't know whose handwriting it is, but there's a handwritten note that says, that's in all of the big collection that says, can we kill Supergirl?
Yes.
And it's written out by hand because someone probably wrote it and was like, no way.
Yeah, it's like on a memo that they were given, an inter-office memo.
Because if we know anything about the DC Universe, who's unkillable, it's the Kryptonians. So, spoiler alert, yes, you can.
I don't know, but I will say overall, I think Barry Allen's the big one. Like, he's a title member of the Justice League.
I just mean, like, those 2 moments are defining, and for such a long time, they were considered the most important things these characters ever did, was die.
So it's very interesting. I wonder who they thought that they were like, we're being daring, and their editors were like, nah.
Yeah, I wonder.
You know, I wonder if they're like, the New Teen Titans.
I'm trying to think of who all dies. I'm sure we'll get
there's a whole bunch of deaths. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so officially, let's go into other reading. So if you are reading along with this is the official list from the Crisis on Infinite Earths Companion. So if you read Crisis number 2, your next batch of issues should be in this order, and that is Justice League of America number 244, Infinity Inc. number 19, Batman number 389, Detective Comics number 556, Batman number 390, Detective Comics number 557, Batman number 391, Detective Comics number 558. Most of those are just red skies appear in them.
Yes, and the red, can we talk about the red skies?
Let's talk about that real quick. So yeah, you can go explain it.
Sure. So now we send emails to people when we want to, when you just CC or BCC as many people on there as you want. Back in the day, Marv Wolfman had to send memos.
Yep.
And he sent a giant memo to basically everyone concerned who was working at DC on these comics or things that could potentially tie in at the time. That was a style guide on how to write or craft your story that tied into Crisis on Infinite Earths. And just as a quick shorthand for all of of us readers out there, he suggested red skies. Red skies mean crisis. Everyone said yes to it.
Yeah, because not everybody, but red skies happened in Crisis on Infinite Earths, and so he made that. He said he did that originally in one of the background materials of the books because he thought that he was worried that nobody else would connect to Crisis on Infinite Earths, that all the other writers would be like, but he actually said that he found out that everybody wanted to be a part of it.
So a lot of these books that Jason is listing for you and that we're recommending that if you want to read more, are
you
just
don't have to read them.
Regular issues with red skies, but they technically tie in from that standpoint. I'm of two minds about it. I think it's really cool that he put that out there and was like, you can connect if you want. Here's a really easy way to do it. I also think it's kind of arrogant to be like, if you want to connect to my great event, put some red skies out there. You know, like it's...
No, I think that's a wrong way to look at it because you have to think about again, and this is a thing that we forget. This is the 50th anniversary of DC Comics.
Yeah.
This event was meant to be
a celebration,
but also a changing. This reboots the entire universe. So you gotta look at it from that way too. All right, let's move into the DCTV crossover theories. Ashley, you had a theory about Brainiac and Luthor. Let's talk about this.
Yes, so we kind of talked about it a little bit already. We do think that Brainiac is gonna be a really important part of the story. I wonder if we're going to get Alexander Luthor as we are traditionally used to seeing him in this story as Lois and Luthor's baby, because in Supergirl, a really important character is Lena Luthor. So I wonder if Alex or maybe Alexandra is going to be Lena's daughter.
Can I
Please, absolutely.
You don't cast John Cryer as Lex Luthor in the same year that at the TCAs you say we're going for broke in our Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. I think John Cryer is going to be the Alexander Luthor.
I literally just imagine John Cryer with the facial hair and that helmet on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or no, I mean, I think he's going to be the kid.
Oh, you think it's going to be Alexander Luthor?
I think he's going to be the kid because I think they're gonna. I think the reason they're stealth introduced him in Superman is that he's going to be, you're going to see him as Alexander Luthor because he's a name-ish actor.
I mean, he's part of 2.5 Men, yeah.
I think they're just going to age Alexander Luthor up.
I also had a thought that Supergirl, like we've already spoiled and you already know, is one of the classic big deaths. I don't think they're going to kill Supergirl.
No, I don't think so
I think
either.
they're going to kill Brainiac 5 instead of Supergirl.
I think they're going to kill Superman.
You think they're going to kill Tyler Hoechlin?
Yep. I think they're gonna flip it.
Do you think he's gonna have white hair?
No, I think they will try to pull in another Superman. I think they'll either try to get Dean Cain back, or they'll try to get Tim Daly.
They have Brandon Routh.
Or they'll try to get Brandon Routh, or they'll try to get Tom Welling. And Tom Welling has said that he would be willing, and I think you'll see the gray hair on one of them.
Right. That Tom Welling would actually be cool because Tom Welling got gray hair. Right? He's rocking it.
No, I think they're gonna flip it because we can't kill Supergirl because she has a show on, and I think they'll flip that image. I think it'll be Superman that dies, not Supergirl.
I would truly, if Melissa Benoist comes out holding Tyler Hoechlin.
Well, that show has already homaged that image.
Yes, they have.
As into season 2.
I would love that. Can we talk about John Stewart?
Yes, let's talk about John. So John Stewart is a big part of this issue. Even in Young Justice, Jefferson Pierce's, Black Lightning's wife, says that her brother is John Stewart, the Green Lantern. There were rumors for years that was going to be because Lynn Stewart is her name in Black Lightning. It's her maiden name. There were rumors for years that you were going to find out that John Diggle was a code name. That his actual real last name is John Stewart. And in Crisis, Elseworlds, I want to call it like Crisis on 2 Earths or something like that. But anyways, in Elseworlds, the Flash from Earth 90, which is the 90s Flash TV show, asked John, where's his ring?
I want him to be John Stewart Green Lantern, even if he's from a different Earth, whatever.
I think he will.
So bad.
I think he will.
And I think David Ramsey is so wonderful, and I would love to see him be a superhero, like a metahuman.
Let me ask you this. Let's go for crazy.
Okay.
They say they're going to go for crazy and bold.
Okay.
Is there a chance that there is a scene in this crossover where we meet the John Stewart from a different Earth, let's make him John Diggle. John Diggle on that Earth is Green Lantern, or on another Earth is Green Lantern. He gets killed, and he gives his ring to our John Diggle, and John Diggle gets to do this crossover as a Green Lantern so that he can be part of the team. Now,
that would be so cool.
Here's the other question of that: would Arrow allow him to keep that ring, or does he lose it by the end of the crossover?
He probably loses it by the end of the crossover.
I think so too.
Also, John Stewart in the comics has some ties to Harbinger, who is Lila.
His wife.
So if they're gonna lean in and make Lila some version of Cosmic Harbinger, it only makes sense then for me to have John Diggle somehow be John Stewart. I don't think that we would leave him as a Green Lantern unless they're going to spin off another show, which I would not put past the CW.
I could.
I just don't think you can have a Green Lantern on Arrow.
I agree.
Unless you're going to do hard traveling heroes, which I'm here for.
Yep. All right. Now, I know we didn't give our overall thoughts about the issue, but this Crisis Club's kind of gotten long, but it doesn't matter. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for watching episode 2 of Crisis Club, talking about issue 2 of Crisis on Infinite Earths. Thank you to all of our patrons over at patreon.com/Jawiin, Jawiin. They are the ones that made Crisis Club possible, so our big thanks to them. No worlds died in this issue, no worlds lived in this issue, and basically everything's still the same, basically on our end. So I'm Jason Inman.
I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
Crisis Club!